Hello and welcome to Global Indians Borderless Ambitions.
People across the globe want to come and invest in India.
I want to understand how can global institutions and also professionals or representatives like chartered accountants, how can they come together to advise?
So a global bank would be a facilitator who would take things around to the perspective, to the effect which it is desired. So moving ahead on these lines, I would like to very simply categorize that with the technical knowledge you have, with the investment experience you have and the expertise to identify areas where you could find a better investment, leave it with chartered accountants, to process them, to see that seamless transactions are done, capital is transferred without any fees, without any charge on that, without any tax on that, and very importantly, the currency proposition that you get an attractive price for the currency which is being converted. So these issues have to be advised by chartered accountants but taken care by the global banks.
Investing overseas will be on their list, it will be rewarding, but many of them also find the entire process to be very complex.
Finding a global bank and finding a chartered accountant who is able to help them with all their issues is very important. And when it comes to a bank, number one, you need to understand where free remittances is done, because any topping up on the charges would make the investment or the, very importantly, the returns come down. Second, if you want to send any person, say, overseas, if you want to make some payments to universities, so you need to find a bank which supports you without much fees and greater impetus.
Hello and welcome to Global Indians Borderless Ambitions, a conversation that comes to you as part of the Navigate with HSBC series. I'm Ridhima Bhatnagar. Today's conversation explores the inspiring journeys of non-residents and globally mobile Indians for building businesses, wealth, and influence across borders. While they make their mark on the global stage, they also inspire a powerful reverse flow of ideas, expertise, and capital back into India. Now, this dynamic exchange is playing a very meaningful role in India's ambition to become the world's third largest economy within this decade. With the world's largest diaspora at over 32 million and still counting, global Indians continue to contribute significantly, not just to economies abroad, but to India's growth story as well. And against that very backdrop, HSBC, with its deep roots in India and a presence across key global markets, is uniquely positioned to support the cross-border aspiration of global Indians, offering them seamless digital onboarding, global wealth solutions, overseas education support, and the ability to open accounts in as many as 30 countries. And now coming back to the theme of today, we're extremely delighted to be joined by Charanjot Singh Nanda, President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, who brings a valuable perspective on the evolving role of the accounting profession in a globally mobile world and India's growing economic influence as well. So, sir, thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us.
Thank you so much.
Why don't we start, sir, at a time when we are talking, a lot of evolution is happening, right? We're talking at a time when India's growth story is progressing with each passing day, each passing month. We're at a very, very pivotal point, right? So I want to understand from ICAI's vantage point, right? How are you seeing some of the structural shifts that are taking place that are, of course, aiding this growth story as well?
India today has become one of the very advantageous investment destinations. People across the globe want to come and invest in India. And India, in changing times, have aligned to the global demands. I'll give you certain things which will put the compliance in the right perspective.
Sure.
See, the Income Tax Act 2025, that again brings down the sections. The interpretation issues are settled, so the simple language and simple issues understanding is there, so that there is no much litigation. You come to GST 2.0, the great revolution.
Yeah.
Reformist stand of the government. I would like to tell you the IBC also, the Insolvency Bankruptcy Code, that is also under consideration. I made a presentation before the Select Committee in the Parliament. So various issues, India is now trying to align with international best practices. The entire world wants to come in India, and for that, India is also creating a benchmark wherever all people who want to come and invest in India get that investable environment.
Correct.
That environment is very important.
Yeah.
So these structural changes ultimately invite people to come and invest in India very seamlessly. So the thought process is to encourage people so that capital comes in India and we are able to effectively grow our base over the capital that comes along with the capital which is with us.
Absolutely. Very well said, sir. And I couldn't agree more with you that the idea is to create a very feasible environment for that capital to come in. And of course, we'll talk about the capital and the free flowing between borders. But I also want to understand from a point of a chartered accountant of what we knew traditionally we needed them for compliance, to how have you seen that role also evolve today in risk management and going beyond compliance, and how do you see that growing, say, in the next 5 years as well?
With the advent of technology, earlier people had to go to several banks, give forms there, see whether it is done or not. Now everything is available to you at your convenient time.
Yeah.
So for example, if I want to make an overseas transaction, I can make it on my desk. I can choose a time of my own choice. Moving ahead, when it comes to investment, the risk is very important. Any person investing outside India or any person investing in India, his risk appetite has to be very clearly identified.
Yeah.
When you come to risk, the most important thing is that risk is time-based.
Yeah.
So geopolitical situations coupled with the peace environment across the entire globe. Now something if it happens in Frankfurt, it will have an immediate effect in India. So taking that into consideration and the currency fluctuation, which is again a big thing, where you want to invest, if the currency fluctuates, maybe you are gaining in the trade, but if the currency goes down, you may become an immediate loser.
Yeah.
So you have to assign all those tasks to a specific taskmaster who could advise you what your movement with respect to investment has to be, whether it is outbound or inbound.
Yeah.
Inbound investments are having a greater say because that is emotional oriented.
Yeah.
Our diaspora, which has gone outside India, they want to build the Indian story and therefore they want to generously send the capital back to India for its growth. That is a separate thing. Otherwise, the risk needs to be tested immediately.
Yeah.
The tax propositions needs to be taxes because what you invest outside India, there are certain provisions which are very stringent.
Yeah.
They need to be followed. And when you invest in India, you have to see what the entire periphery of the taxation and GST laws are there in India.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. And taking on from what you're saying, just to understand from both perspectives, right? We're talking at a time when capital is flowing between borders, across borders as well, right? So on one hand, while you have a lot of opportunities for that investment, there are some friction points or some challenges as well. So from both sides, I want to understand, sir, for the global investment that's coming into India, what are the kind of opportunities and challenges? And also for Indians wanting to invest globally, what are the challenges and opportunities?
Madam, very importantly, first of all, the advantages. The advantages are that when you find opportunities and capital can grow at a larger pace, you want to invest. See, there are people who understand technical analysis who want to invest in Indian market as well as international markets.
Fair.
So first thing is an opportunity to invest, to make money. Second, there is always a thrill investing outside India. Any person sitting here would always be very happy to have some assets outside India. The pitfalls or the pain points are that these are all compliance oriented.
Yeah.
Compliances are very stringent. And more importantly, once sitting in India, when you invest outside, see, I am aware of the Indian market totally.
Yeah.
If I see of the stock market, I know everything, how settlements are done. And if that is international market, if settlements or payments are not done on time, there are huge penalties. Margins, if they start, how you keep money which is available in an account. So these things are the basic pain points that would ultimately be a break for people who want to seamlessly invest or who want to invest on a continuous basis.
Yeah. Sir, also one point that you very rightly pointed out, that a lot of people know about these cross-border opportunities. They know what the potential looks like, but sometimes a little help is needed, right? A little expertise is needed. So I want to understand, how can global institutions and also professionals or representatives like chartered accountants, how can they come together to advise whether it's individuals or institutions to make the most of these cross-border opportunities?
See, a chartered accountant, if I speak about my profession, we were set up an Act of Parliament way back on 1st July 1949. experience of 76 years.
Yeah.
So we have to put that into the right perspective.
Yeah.
Chartered accountants know that. And you need a facilitator to effect those transactions. Chartered accountant can give an advice on the table. So a global bank would be a facilitator who would take things around to the perspective, to the effect which it is desired.
Yeah.
So moving ahead on these lines, I would like to very simply categorize that with the technical knowledge you have, with the investment experience you have and the expertise to identify areas where you could find a better investment, leave it with chartered accountants,
Yeah.
to process them, to see that seamless transactions are done, capital is transferred without any fees, without any charge on that, without any tax on that, and very
Yeah.
importantly, the currency proposition, that you get an attractive price for the currency which is being converted. So these issues have to be advised by chartered accountants,
Yeah.
but taken care by the global banks.
Yeah. Sir, I want to understand one very fascinating aspect, and you spoke about this earlier, which is that ICAI is one of the largest global memberships available across the world, right? So I'm sure there is a larger vision of connecting this global diaspora with India. You have presence in most of the financial hubs, whether it's New York, Singapore, Dubai, London. So I want to understand, what is that vision of connecting this global diaspora with India?
We are the largest accounting body of the world with close to 5,30,000 chartered accountants. Out of them, we have more than 40,000 chartered accountants who are outside India as Indian chartered accountant diaspora. We have 54 overseas chapters which work like our branches,
Oh.
and 31 representative offices. So we have a presence in 85 cities of 47 countries. Largely the bias is to connect them and to create investmentable opportunities. Apart from that, being connected to India, they become a constant source of advice to people who want to invest in India. And more importantly, the technical bias. Madam,
Yeah.
in India, before doing your CA, you have to do your training.
Correct.
That training puts you in the right perspective, how things have to be taken in the right esteem.
Yeah.
So drawing that influence and inference from whatever happens across the globe, Indian chartered accountants give proper advice. And therefore, as ICI, we keep on motivating them to do webinars,
Yeah.
which are viewed all across the globe.
Yeah.
So their perspective come to India and Indian perspectives go to them because they have a great circle in India.
Yeah.
So this ultimately creates an era where contribution happens in both the economies.
Yeah.
They live in the economy, they support India, yet they work seamless for the robust growth of the economy where they live.
Yeah.
So that is a dual role they play. Moreover, events like World Forum of Accountants, WOFA, would entail such opportunities for entire world to showcase their talents at our grounds. And our diaspora plus international speakers and international participants to come and understand the Indian side of it and how we could synchronize with international best practices. So I would like to put across that at WOFA, certain things are there which will be helping the membership and other people also, other investors also understand how things could be put in the right perspective.
Interesting. And what you said about the webinars is also very interesting, because you need that information to be viewed by a global audience as well. Just a follow up here, I want to understand, because you were talking about various partners coming together, and I go back to how global institutions and CAs can come together in becoming that advisor, that mentor for either Indian families or entrepreneurs in making far more confident decisions when it comes to wealth.
Madam, when wealth is very seamlessly transferred
Yeah.
in a risk-free environment,
Yeah.
it gives a greater impetus to the person who wants to invest.
Yeah.
For example, if I want to buy bonds of municipal corporations in US, I find it is very easy for me to transfer the money. I know the compliance issue, tax laws and related capital gains issues. Then it becomes very easy for me to invest. If I have some money for some smaller period also, and I feel that I can have some capital gains, I would like to do so. So first thing, chartered accountants are technically compliant.
Yeah.
Their technical knowledge is par excellence. So what do? They advise the clients with respect to the investment benefits also, taxes also, and compliances which have to be done with the cross border. Now, I draw the entire plan that needs an execution. So execution by global banks. There are certain global banks, we do not charge any percentage on transfers. They give very attractive valuation or very attractive pricing on
Yeah.
currency conversion. So they become an added benefit So when these type of facilities are available, people want to invest outside.
Correct.
They want to invest in various stock exchanges where they feel the amount of appreciation can be high, the investment environment there is feasible.
Yeah.
Apart from that, for real estate also, if I have money, my children study in US
Yeah.
or UK or Canada, I want like to have a permanent house there.
True.
So these things have now become easier than earlier. With the government coming out with clear propositions, clear tax laws and directives, it has become even more easier for us to acquire shares, movable, immovable properties outside India.
Absolutely. I mean, now I think there are more gateways, there are more platforms that are also making this entire experience far more seamless. So the other aspect, of course, that I want to understand from you, and of course a lot is being written and discussed about it, is Gift City, right? Today it's positioning itself as a gateway for international investing. So I want to understand, how do you see chartered accountants also partnering with various global banks to help clients in various forms, whether it can be about structuring investment, managing risk, or just about understanding growth per se?
The 73rd president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, I will tell you that we went with the IFSA top brass for road shows. I
Okay.
personally went to London, I went to Melbourne, Sydney. So we have been moving with them because we want to position India. Our entire initiatives is on positioning India as the best investment destination. A person who wants to invest in India had certain doubts, so many regulators, how a pen will be taken, where the return will be done. So now with IFSC coming in, the only regulator is IFSI.
Yeah.
One regulator. Whatever I invest, even I can invest without a PAN.
Correct.
Whatever I invest directly. And whenever I want to withdraw, it can be withdrawn. Apart from that, I get tax holidays. So this is something which is unheard considering India's environment. So this opening up has excited the entire world. Now, the second role you said about global banks.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to invest, say, from Australia to India, it needs a bank to send the money. If there is a margin requirement, again send that money.
Sure.
If there is some inflow to India, send the money, and if there is some outflow, for example, for any particular reason, they want to withdraw the money, then also it becomes easy.
Yeah.
And one biggest thing is that the funds which are there, the provident funds across the globe,
Yeah.
they have money. Every person, for example, you work here,
Sure.
you get a salary.
Yeah.
So provident fund is deducted. Now that provident fund, at least I know it about Australia, that can be invested anywhere.
Yeah.
So that fund they want to invest in India so that the fund can be swelled and that has the returns which are more than the returns which they get in the individual land. So people
Yeah.
want to invest in IFSCI.
The other aspect, sir, that we see a lot of interest around from, again, a global Indian perspective, whether a resident or a non-resident, is that investing overseas will be on their list, it will be rewarding, but many of them also find the entire process to be very complex. And one of the concerns that we also see when we speak to a lot of global Indians is that they might not be very aware of some of the pitfalls that they need to avoid when they're investing globally. Why don't you take us through some of the pitfalls that need to be avoided by investors?
When the first pitfall is currency fluctuations. And currency fluctuation is something that can change the entire sphere of the investment which is made.
Agreed, yeah.
Very importantly, one needs to understand the currency flow and very importantly, the way it is being now valued. Valuation with respect to dollar, valuation with respect to the major currencies in the world is very, very important. Second thing, when you come out of the currency bias, you have to look at the tax laws. Tax laws both ways. We have double tax avoidance agreement with various top countries of the world,
yeah.
but still they have the issues as related to tax. What is the transaction value and what is the taxation that has to be paid on that is again important. If it is subject to dual taxation, they will have to take the benefit of DTAA. The third important thing, which normally people do not understand, is the compliance issues. A single error in compliance would render the entire thing of no use. So largely, the biggest pitfall people have, they have to have a checklist of the entire compliance which they need to make.
Yeah.
Compliance with respect to tax laws, I told you, compliance with risk to currency risk, compliance with risk to geopolitical risk, compliance with respect to political risk.
Yeah.
So there has to be a very overall view, bird's eye view, and then investment can be made. So once you make an investment, the greatest risk you have is to follow this checklist and then go ahead to invest, because capital at risk means capital is gone.
And just playing the devil's advocate here, these pitfalls that you said, they are across concerns, whether it's legacy planning, whether it's income, whether it's lifestyle, all of these cater to all of these, right?
They cater to each and everything. So these things will always have a catastrophic effect on the entire movement of a person. So largely one has to see that all the assets are diversified. They should not stay invested in one particular asset, in one particular asset class and one particular geographical location. And with geopolitical situation now becoming so fluid day by day, it becomes very important for them to assess their risk appetite. Because at one point when you think you want to get out, maybe the point when the economy or that market may be ready to recover. So you need to know the stop losses, very, very important. You need to know your targets if you get quick returns where you have to book your profits and come. This is all a total, you can say, blueprint which a person has to define before going into investment.
Yeah, and both markets need to be understood.
Yes,
right?
they have to be understood. Then only you can make a call.
Yeah. The other aspects that I also want to understand is we're of course also talking at a time when, yes, a lot of attraction is happening for Indian HNIs for big real estate markets, whether it's again a London, Dubai or Singapore. But I want to understand when we look into the future, say next 5 years, talk to me about some of the new emerging hotspots that you see for Indian HNIs.
I travel so across the globe. Wherever you go, I find an Indian. So largely, when you want to invest, you have to be very clear about the acquisition laws, how you can acquire and tax laws and compliance issues. Other than that, you need not worry on anything. The entire world now has become a global village. And very importantly, the value of Indian knowledge, Indian profession has grown very high. As Indian chartered accountant, I can tell you, wherever we go, we find people throwing questions to us with respect to GCCs, with respect to outsourcings, with respect to sustainability and ESG, where we are now becoming leaders. So all across, people want to speak to us, understand. So ultimately, any place where you find you have got good people who are working there, the government attitude is nice, Indians are welcome, you should have a destination there looking into your national or local tax laws.
So this of course has two aspects to us. One, of course, as you said, that these emerging hotspots and the world is our oasis. But the other aspect that I also want to understand, because traditionally when we've spoken about investing globally or in real estate, one factor that we keep in mind is price appreciation. But in 2026, moving forward, what are the other factors that you should keep in mind as well?
Madam, price appreciation is the first and foremost factor.
Correct.
Apart from that, security of your asset, title of your asset, risk associated with that asset because of geopolitical issues. More importantly, whether that asset is feasible or not feasible. There are certain not feasible, and you need to understand that there are other investments other than real estate. One can go into debentures, one can go into shares, gold, silver. So there are so many things where one could go, even precious metals, other precious metals, even old paintings. So one has to have a very fair idea what his investment objective is and what he intends to have from that objective. So very importantly, the initiative has to create a blueprint defining 4 things. Number 1, the destination where he wants to invest. Second, the asset class where he wants to invest. Third and important thing, the tax laws of both the here destination also and the local country. And fourth is compliance, and more importantly, the related appreciation which he sees whether it is feasible with respect to geopolitical situations and appreciation in the currencies, if any.
So as we begin to now wrap this conversation, I can't let you go before we have a message to our viewers who have tuned in on the theme of this conversation, which has been Global Indians, Borderless Ambitions.
When you speak of global Indians, the most important thing is that they understand where they are advantageously leveraged.
Correct.
So finding a global bank and finding a chartered accountant who is able to help them with all their issues is very important. When it comes to a chartered accountant, they are all well knowledgeable. They know the entire tax laws, the compliance issues, FEMA, the transactional taxes that have to be paid once you come from one geographical destination to another destination. And when it comes to a bank, 4 important things. Number 1, you need to understand where free remittances is done, because any topping up on the charges would make the investment or the, very importantly, the returns come down. Second, if you want to send any person, say, overseas, if you want to make some payments to universities, so you need to find a bank which supports you without much fees and greater impetus. The third important thing which you need to understand is that a bank that has a presence all across.
Yeah.
Fourth, that helps global Indians also to transact within and outside India.
Correct.
So this type identification of this type of bank coupled with the technical knowledge of a chartered accountant will create a seamless atmosphere for you, tension-free, peaceful atmosphere where you could focus more on investment decisions rather than on the formalities related to the investment.
I
which
think
is
that's
important.
very well said, sir. Thank you so much. It has been such a learning experience, sir. So once again, thank you so much for taking
Thank you,
out your
madam.
time.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Once again, thanking sir for a truly insightful conversation. And you'll all agree when I say that today's discussion has been really an eye-opener on how India's growth story is no longer just domestic, but deeply global. It is shaped by capital flows, professional expertise, and the aspiration of global Indians across borders. As India today steps into its next phase of economic transformation, the role of institutions, professionals, and globally mobile Indians will be far more important than ever. Once again, we're thanking Mr. Nanda for sharing such valuable perspectives, and a very, very big thank you to everyone who joined us for this episode of Navigate with HSBC.